Good morning. Today is November 7th, and I'm going to be getting our last two classes finished up today so that we have them all caught up so that on Saturday, when the next class happens, we will be all ready for that too. So I'm just checking here before we get started to make sure everything is recording or on live. It seems that my computer software is really slow today. Super slow. So hopefully everything will all work out. Let me just check here on my phone to see if I am going live. Let's see here. Not seeing my live on Facebook. Oh, I think my YouTube is starting to come up. Oh, there it is. YouTube is finally up. I see it there. There it is. It is there. So let's change the title so it does not say June and July. This one will say September and October. There we go. And we'll save that. All right. Now I think we are good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. I am seeing a little bit of a lag, but hopefully it will all catch up. So in September, we used this online special. This set was called Potions and Spells. And we used the bundle, so we have the dies, and we'll be using those. And I do have a lot of stuff already cut out, so we'll just set that here. One of the things we made was this little box, and we put some chocolate in it. Unfortunately, I tore up my card before the video, and so I don't have a sample of the card because I actually ruined my card. So we're just gonna have to make it from scratch. Thankfully, I do have a picture of it. Here are all of my die cuts. In my one envelope. All right, so I'm gonna just this is a broom, and here is the broom handle. I think it goes this way. There we go. And then we have some vellum potion bottles. See here, like that. And then we have a half circle. Now yours might be a different color. I tried to give everybody two different colors, so those will end up gluing on there. This will go on the box. And all of these bubbles I die cut for you will go on the card. So let's go ahead and we're just going to jump right in. We're going to get our card base folded. I do have a picture of my card base. This is a piece of black. This piece we're going to trim down and it's going to go inside there. We have a piece of acetate. This we'll set aside over here. So first we're going to we have this piece of fresh freesia, and I'm going to trim that down so it will fit on the front of my card base with a little bit of a border. So I'm going to actually trim it down to 4 1/8. I think I'm going to do the plaid side this time. And then I'm going to also cut it to 5 3/8. Okay? Because I just want a little bit of a border. I will save these because I'm going to glue some on the inside. And before I do anything, I'm going to die cut my cauldron on my Anna Griffith Empress machine, which I love, love, love. So here is my cauldron, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of line that up about the middle bottom portion. And I'm going to take some tape, maybe, if I can find any tape. Oh, there it is. My removable Scotch tape. I'm just going to glue that, tape that right there, and then I'm going to run this quickly through my machine. I'll be so happy to get caught up with all of my videos. All right, so we're going to use this actually on the box. Put that right here. Take this, put that over here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do before I get too far in is I'm going to do some ink blending. So I'm going to grab my sticky mat. Now this is a sticky mat from the Stamp Wheel. I believe the Stamp Wheel is by Altenew. And I'm just gonna lay this down here. It's gonna hold my panel in place. I'm gonna grab my purple blending brush. There we are. And I'm gonna grab Blackberry Bliss, and I'm gonna do a little bit of ink blending here with Blackberry Bliss. If you don't have Blackberry Bliss, you can use any purple, but I would like to ink blend the bottom of this. And you know, I'm going to actually lay this back in there, and then I can do the ink blending on both things because the sticky mat holds everything down for you. I'm going to just come up the sides a little, kind of blend that out. Make it look all creepy. Doesn't have to be a real smooth blend because we do want it to look creepy. There we go. I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Set those to the side. And then I'm just going to peel that off. Ooh. Then I'm going to peel this off. And then to clean this mat, you just take some water. And I'm going to just hold it up so I don't spray my other stuff. Okay. And then I just use a flour cloth here, flour sack towel, and just wipe it down. And then if you just let it air dry, it will be nice and sticky and ready for your next project. So I'm just gonna set that aside over here to air dry. Got a little water here, so we're just gonna clean that up. There we go. Now I'm going to take my acetate and I'm going to glue it on the bottom. So I'm going to just take my, oops, I stuck. Going to take my silicone mat and place my panel upside down, and I'm going to take some double-sided tear tape, and I'm just going to go down and around all four sides of this. Okay. Use my take your pick tool. There it is. Take all of the backings off of my panel here. All right, then I'm going to take my acetate, and I see it's just a little bit too wide, so I'm just going to trim it a little off with my scissors, and then stick it right over the top of the opening where that cauldron is, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a good press, burnish it down with my bone folder. I do see it is hanging off of this edge just a little. So I'm going to, now I know it's after Halloween, but you'll have a Halloween card for next year, right? All right, so got all that trimmed off. Okay, the next step is we're going to take some foam tape, and I have some thin black foam tape here. And we're going to make a well to put all of our shaker bits in. Okay, just like so. And I'm going to turn it sideways. Remember, when you are making a well for shaker bits, you need to make sure that you don't have any openings. So I kind of overcut that a little so I could shove it in there and have a good seal. Come down this way. Give it a good tuck. There we are. Now I'm going to take my powder, anti-static powder here, and I'm going to rub the edges because I don't want everything to stick inside. There we are. And then I created a little mixy mix with a bunch of different colors of purples and greens and oranges and lime green. So we're going to take a couple scoops, and hopefully that should be enough. There we are. Now I'm going to carefully, without bumping too much, because if you lift too hard, you'll bump the beads and they'll get into your adhesive. All right, so also, I'm going to put liquid glue around this because it's just an extra layer of seal protection. We all know with the temperature changes and humidity changes that over time our adhesive can lose their stickiness. So we are going to make sure that it does not lose its stickiness. And I'm just going to place this black piece right over the top. Give it a good press. Okay. And now, because I don't have any foam tape on the top here, I am going to add a few layers of foam tape, because when we put our card together, we do not want the top part to collapse, especially if we're going to mail it. So there we are. Get these off. Now this other section has foam tape underneath, but I'm now going to add glue to this whole panel and glue to my foam tape here, just so that nothing falls apart. All right, so we're going to take that. We're going to bring our card base back. And we are going to stick this just like so. Line it up. It looks like I have a little extra space at the bottom. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about that. Get it nice and centered. And there. The shaker part is already done. How cute is that? All right, let's go ahead and we're going to finish this up. So I'm going to put my dribble, my goo, my overflow on, just like so. And for this one, I'm actually going to put it just a little bit above the top. Okay. And then I'm just going to let this just hang out there for a second so that can dry. It is on acetate, so it's going to take a little longer to dry, which is fine. While we wait on that, I am going to trim out my sentiment. So when I am trimming out my sentiment, you know, having die cuts these days that trim out sentiments is awesome. Like, they look so nice. But if you're cutting them out, you can make them look just as nice as a die cut. And I'm going to show you how to do that today, okay? You know, with a die cut, it has a nice, kind of like a beveled edge. And so we're going to actually give our sentiment a beveled looking edge to give it more of that die cut finished look. Okay, put that away, and I'm going to grab, this is just a foam mat. I'm going to slide this up here, and I'm going to take this foam mat. I got the, this foam mat is just one that comes from, you know, the inside of my Misty. And I'm just going to rub around the edges to give it that nice finished look. And that's going to make those edges kind of be more rounded down as if they were die cut out. All right, I wanted to do that. And then I also need to take a second and color this. So our colors are orange and green and purple. So let me grab a couple of those markers. I'm going to choose some Highland Heather. I'm going to go with a peach pie. And then I'm also going to go with lemon lime twist. All right, so we're going to just go with that. And oh, I'm going to use a little bit of a light gray. So this is light gray granite. Maybe I want smoky slate. Or maybe we don't have smoky slate. All right, so I'm going to just use this to color the pages of my books. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take my purple. This is light Highland Heather. There we go. Trace that one in purple. Then I'm going to do these three little lines on the potions book, and these couple lines on the spells book. The spells book I'm going to color with a light peach pie. There we are. I'm going to outline the outside of this book that's under the spells book with dark lemon lolly or lemon lime twist. And then I'm going to color this book partially with the dark and partially with the light. Now you can color your books any which way that you would like. So there we go. Those are done. Set those back there. And now I'm going to, I can die cut that out. So we're going to just use our little die cut machine for this. If you don't have the die cuts, it's a pretty easy image to fussy cut. Alright, so we're going to just take that down and we're going to run it through our little mini sidekick here. I love this machine because it sticks to my surface. There we are. Set that over there. And there is my die cut, all ready to go. All right, we're going to take that block off. We're going to bring this back in. We're going to use this. And we are going to do a little bit more gluing so we can assemble the rest of these pieces that we still have. I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers. Tweezers are your friend when you're working with all these little parts. We need to glue our broom together. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there. The glue will spread, but I don't want it to ooze out the edges, so give it a good press. And then stick that down, give it a good press. Now I'm going to take and put glue just on the bottom of the broomstick right there. Kind of hard to see on camera because it's so dark, but there we are. So there's our broomstick. How cute is that? All right. Now we're going to just kind of set these aside right here, and we're going to move our card back into the picture. And the first thing I want to glue down is my sentiment, because I want to make sure that I leave room for it, okay? So we're going to glue that down right there. Set my block back on it while I get glue ready for here. Now I'm going to glue my broom down. And it's going to kind of go up right underneath Double Double Toil and Trouble. And I'm going to wipe off any excess. Thankfully, this glue dries clear. I'm going to glue my books down. They're going to go right here in the corner. And then right on top of the books, I'm going to put glue on the back just where the cardstock is. You don't want it above where the glitter cardstock is because you'll see it. So only put glue right there where it's covered. I'm going to stick this right here like that. And then I'm going to set that on top just for a second to dry. Now I have all of these bubbles. Flip them all over so I can see what colors we have so I can decide their placement. Now, when I was die cutting bubbles, or actually my friend was die cutting the bubbles, I didn't do it. We had a die cutting day. We die cut a ton of bubbles. So you may have more than you need, but you can always add them to like the inside of the card or, you know, wherever you would like. So these are all of our bubbles in all the sizes and all the colors that we did it in. And, you know, it's a variety of greens. I think they're all so pretty. All right, so now we're just going to start filling and overflowing this cauldron. So I'm just going to take one bubble at a time, and I want to make sure I cover the ends here because our goo didn't quite go that far. So we want to make sure at least we get that part covered. I'm not going to pop out all of my little holes. And you kind of want to do some higher up. And I'm just going to place them randomly here and there. Notice I was able to slip that in right behind the sentiment a little bit. Now I kind of have an outside edge of bubbles going on here, so I can kind of start filling it in around it. Picking and choosing which ones I want to go where. You can kind of slide them in behind each other or lay them on top of each other. Feel like I need another one right in here to kind of fill that gap. Then a couple floating up into the air. You know, as bubbles would do. Kind of overlapping each other. I have two left. Let's see. Maybe one over here. Maybe this green one there. There we go. And that is the front of our card. I'm going to weight all that stuff down so it can dry. Now I'm going to take my inside piece. Let me put my pin in my glue. We're going to trim it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So there's the 4-inch mark. 5 and no, that's not 5 1/4. That's 5 1/4. There we go. And to give the inside just a little bit of interest, I am going to stamp the bubbles. Here we are. Use this block and grab my lemon lime twist. Since we had green bubbles on the front, we're going to have green bubbles on the inside. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to grab a piece of paper to stamp on. Because I'm going to be stamping off the edge. All right, here we are. Just a piece of notebook paper. And we're going to start by stamping in the bottom right-hand corner. But I want this to kind of go up the edge, so I'm just going to twist it a little to kind of give that illusion of it going up the edge. All right. All the way around. There we go. How cute is that? Now with the purple that I used earlier, I'm going to leave that right there. Open this one, and I'm going to stamp Happy Halloween. So here's a block. Hopefully it's big enough. If not, I'll grab another one. Just barely. There we are. Move this down where I can see it. Sorry if my head gets in the way. And there we go. Happy Halloween. My H did not stamp, but I have. I'm just going to add my little line there. We're going to call it good. We're not going to worry about it. There we are. Glue this down. And on the back side, I am going to put my stamp. So it is officially done. And I like the crispness of VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. Stamp that right in the center. And our card is finished. Just like that. So I know I'll have a Halloween card for next year. How cute is that? All right, next we're going to move on to our box. Okay, here is our box. But before I do that, I want to clean up my bubble stamp because I'm going to need that. Okay, go ahead and clean that off because I'm going to need that. I'll clean this Happy Halloween off. There we go. All right, so I am going to first, I'm going to grab my 2 pieces. And because this is white, I want to ink blend it with black. So I am going to grab a black ink blending brush, purple away. Oh, here is my black. There we go. I'm going to take my black Memento and I'm going to ink blend all of the creases. Okay. All the way around it. Because we want to make a spooky book and we don't want a white book. And you can ink, so this part here is going to be on the inside of the box and this flap here will end up on the inside of the box. So I'm going to ink blend it completely black. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to ink blend this whole square. If you don't want to do this, you could certainly cut a piece of black cardstock and put it in the bottom of your box. But this is going to be the bottom of my box. And then I'm going to ink blend all of that side because we will be able to see that. So we want the inside of our box to be black. And spooky. Give it a good rubby rub. There we go. So it looks like that. These edges. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set that aside to work on drying. And now I'm going to do the front of the box. All the way around the edges. There we are. All right, there we go. Just like that. Perfect. And I'm going to do the inside of the box. And inside around the edges. On this side as well. Because you will be able to see this when we have the box open. All right, so there is the inside of the box. All right, I'm going to set this over here, and I'm going to just set this up here to dry. Now I can throw that away. And let's look at the pieces that I have left. So, I don't think I have enough pieces. I think I may have used, so that's for the front, that's for the back. These are for the sides. Oh, the inside. I might have to get some more black scrap, but that's okay. I got plenty of black. I'm going to go grab that real quick before we get started. All right, I also grabbed my corner rounder. So before we get too into it, we are going to take the front panel, just one, and we are going to corner round two sides, okay? These are the sides that will line up with these two edges, okay? They're rounded on our box. And then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to lay my little cauldron here. It's going to be really close to the bottom. And then I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm just going to mark a line. So that kind of tells me, I don't know if you can see that, where I have to stamp my bubbles and heat emboss them. In class, I used pink heat emboss ink powder, but for the video, I'm just going to do white because my pink is put away and it's not around here right now. So we have a little Hocus Pocus. And then we have bubbles. So I'm going to grab my heat embossing powder. Here's my heat gun. And this is my little case that I keep my most commonly used. Okay, most commonly used, meaning I use these colors the most. So I'm going to do some white heat embossing. I need this. I'm going to set this aside. And I'm just going to give it a little anti-heat emboss powder. And then, because I am stamping on black, you can use white pigment ink to heat emboss with. So I'm going to start with this. And I see that line, and I'm going to go just slightly below that line that I made, because I don't want my bubbles to look like they're floating on top. Need my stamp set again. 3 little blocks so I can put my bubbles on them. And then I'll be able to. And then I also have little bursts that I'll throw on there too. Okay. And with the pigment ink, it takes a second for it to dry. Next, I'm going to add my sentiment that says a little hocus pocus. Okay. Now I'm going to add a couple bubbles. Stamping off. There we go. So you can kind of see how that looks. There's my ink. Now I'm going to grab my white. Here's my little coffee filter. And I'm going to just sprinkle on the white powder. Give it a tap tap, and I'm going to sprinkle again. Now, I like to let my powder just sit on there for a minute, a few seconds longer. And then I'm going to take my little spoon here, give it a tap tap. That way I have a nice, good coat. Pour my embossing powder back into my container. And put the lid on because we do not want to spill it. All right. So I'm going to turn on my heat gun. And while that is heating up, I am going to just give my stamps a quick wash. We like our heat gun to be nice and hot when we go to melt the powder. What did I do with my rag? You know, I always am losing my clean towel. There we go. All right, so those are nice and clean. My heat gun is good and hot, and now I can just quickly, literally takes just seconds to heat that up. You don't want to overheat because the white powder will either brown because it's burnt, or it will start to like dissolve, which is the weirdest thing. Now, before I put my white ink pad away, I am going to take, and I'm going to ink around the edges of the front. And I'm just going to take my ink pad and I'm just going to ink just like this around the edges. Okay, just like that. Just to give it that creepy vibe. Okay, all right, so there's that. then I'm going to take, now I can take my cauldron and I can glue it right on the front. Like so. And then I have a whole bunch of extra slime goops. So I'm going to stick that there. There we are. And for this one, I'm going to kind of center it just below the top and give it that little look like that. All right, now I'm going to leave my white ink open. And so now I need to do the back. We're going to corner around two sides of the back piece. So here's the front, here's the back. So our corners are the same. So I want to make sure I'm going to ink blend the back. Or not ink blend, I'm going to smudge the edges of the back. All right, so there's the back of it. All right, now before I get too far going, I'm going to start assembling my box. All right, so we're going to do the box part. And so this is the inside of the box. So we're going to fold these over. And you can use your bone folder to give you nice lines. Okay, fold this side and this side. All right, so when we assemble our box, we're going to take these flaps, and they're going to go here. And then we're going to take this piece, and I'm just going to show you first. It's going to fold over and grab and hold those in. So this piece of adhesive, we're going to remove the backing. Okay, and then because, you know, I don't want it to fall apart, put lots of glue. And I'm going to hold it. Now, if you look on the edge of my box, you can see I need to add a little ink there because you can see the white, and we didn't want that. Okay, cover it up. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to peel the back, cover it with glue on both folds. Okay, then we're going to wrap it around those two tabs, and we're going to pinch. Okay, just like that. That is the box. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to, because I don't remember my measurements, I am going to grab my ruler. Here we are. And the side of the box measures 1 inch by 3.5. So let me grab a sticky note here. So the long side is 1 by 3.5. I want to cut my black piece to cover that at 1/4 inch smaller, so 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/4. I'm going to need 2 of those. Now I already know that the short side is going to be 1 by, we're going to measure it, and it's going to say 2 3/4. So I want my black piece to be 2 3/4 by 2 1/2, and I need 2 of those. All right, there we go. So I have this other black piece. This is going to be for the inside cover. Okay. So I'm going to set that aside. Now let's see what I can get out of this piece here. So 3/4 by 3 1/4. So we're going to go 3 1/4. And then we're going to go 3/4 and 3/4. Okay. That's 2 sides of the box. And then I'm going to say 2 1/2 by 3/4. And that's all I can get from that little piece of paper that I had. So I'm going to grab my other scrap that I brought, and I'm going to cut this at 3/4. And then at 2 1/2, and that's going to be the other short side. Now I also need a piece for here and here. And so that is going to measure, so that was for the inside of the box. So that measure, let me grab my ruler here. That measures 1 inch wide and by 4. So it measures 1 by 4. And I'm only going to take 1/8 of an inch off of these. So we're going to say 7/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. And I need 2 of those, one for the outside and one for the inside. So we're going to measure 3 7/8 this way, and then 7/8. I'm measuring on this side. 7/8 and 7/8. Okay, that's going to give me those 2 pieces. And my last piece is going to measure, so that's 2 1/2 long, but this one is 1 inch. So we're going to say a 7/8 inch square. 7/8 by 7/8 by 7/8, because we need them on the front and the back, so we need 2 of those. So 2 7/8 inch squares. Okay. And then this piece here measures 1 1/2. So if I did 7/8 by 1 3/8, so 7/8 by 1 3/8. There we go. So I have 2 of those pieces. All right, now we're going to do a little trimming. So I will review all of these pieces. So these 2 measure 7/8 by 3 7/8. Then I have 2 pieces that measure 7/8 by 7/8. And then I have 2 pieces that measure 7/8 by 1 3/8. Okay, so those are all your measurements. I'm going to just stick them right there so you can see. So these 2 are going to go on this rounded flap. So here's my 2 little boxes there, okay? They're going to go on this rounded flap. But I am going to add a magnet so that it will stay closed. Now, I'm not sure if I sent magnets. If I did not, I apologize. If I did, this is what they're for. Okay. And there's a little bit of a trick. So, oh, I grabbed too many. So I have 2 magnets there. There they are. So I am going to peel off my adhesive here. Okay. Then I'm going to put a little glue right there, and I'm going to put my magnet there. Okay. And just let that sit for a second. While that is sitting, I'm going to take this little piece and I'm going to stick it in my corner rounder on both corners. And it's going to round, or, you know, it does a pretty good job rounding that. Just trim off this. I'm not going to ink it. I'm just going to put glue all over it like that. And I'm going to stick it right on and do my best to kind of push it down and over that magnet. I'm going to take a couple of my clips just to hold it down around my magnet. Just like that. Okay. Let that dry. Then I'm going to take, I'm going to put my black 7/8 inch square there. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put my black 7/8 inch square there. I'm going to come back to that piece, but I still have this piece. Okay, that's going to go right here in the center panel right there. It's kind of hard to see on camera because everything's black on black on black. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to glue this here. Okay. All right, those should be dry. Now I'm going to glue, actually I'm not going to glue my box yet. We're going to set this piece and this, we're going to set it over here for a second. I'm going to bring my box in. And here's where the measurements to cover the outside of the box. All right, so I have my two long pieces that measure 3/4 by 3 1/4, and I have my two short pieces that measure 3/4 by 2 1/2. First thing, I'm going to go around and make sure I can't see any white on the corners. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take my glue here, and I'm going to glue a long piece nice right in the center. And then I'm going to go all the way around the box doing the same thing. Short piece. The inside of our box is nice and black and creepy looking because it is Halloween. Go, and then our last side here. I wanted to do this before I adhered it inside the box because I think it would be more difficult. All right, so here's my other magnet. I haven't lost that yet. Now I'm going to bring this back in and hold off on that, and I'm going to glue my base of my box down. Now I'm putting glue where the glue strips were just so I can wiggle my box into its spot. And you want to kind of make sure it's centered, top, bottom, left, right. Okay, give it a good press. And then this will essentially wrap around, and we'll put our other magnet here, and it'll be hidden. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring these pieces back in. This one was my inside piece, so I'm going to glue that down. Making sure my rounded corners match up with the rounded corners. Okay. My bottom piece is inked around. Okay, it's going to go right here. Now I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to round 2 corners like I did on the last piece. Trim off anything that didn't cut real great. I'm going to ink around the edges because this is a front piece. I forgot to ink around that. Oh well, it'll be fine. Nobody will notice. Okay, now we're going to put glue on this piece. And it's going to glue right here. All right, now here is what my box looks like. I am going to take a glue dot and I am going to stick it. Ooh, that's a big glue dot. That's okay. First, I'm going to stick my magnet here. Bing. Okay. Drop it right onto it. It automatically will stick the right way up. And then I'm going to put a glue dot on this magnet. Okay. Okay, so you can kind of see that I put a gooey glue dot on there. I'm going to close my book, wrap this around, pinch it, and that is where my magnet will stick. And now I can put this on the front. Now, it's going to be a little warped because that magnet is kind of thick. I usually like to use my thinner magnets, but I'm not sure where they're at right this second. So we had to use the thicker ones, which it'll be fine. We're going to glue this right over the top. Just like so. Give it a good press around the edges. Okay, and then this will stay closed just like that. And then you fill it with your favorite chocolate. Okay, there we are. So that is our 2 cards from September. I know, I am so far behind. But that was our September class. Next, we are going to move on to our October class. So let me go ahead and put these stamps away real quick. Stamps and dies. Our October class featured pumpkin spice collection, coffee, and I hope I have it out here still. Oh, I do. Oh, good. And we also use some postage stamp collection, which is a carryover from last year. But it is oh so fun. All right, so that was that. And I'm going to take my sticky notes here and stick them right on here. And set those aside. Our next class involved this particular set. And I featured a lot of masking. So this might take us a minute, but you know, we'll be good. All right, so I set everything for that. Right here. All right, so we are using More Than Autumn. Here is what it looks like. Okay. Nothing's better than pumpkin spice. And we made this cute little box with a Ghirardelli chocolate inside. All right, so we have some postage stamps, card base. Oh, and we made this card. So this was our Because You Came to Class project. And so here I have a variety of pieces here. So we're going to just figure out what we got and we're going to go from there. right. So I actually made something. And I don't know what I did with them. Give me a second here. All right. I thought that I had put them in my, okay. We'll just have to go with this. We'll figure it out. It will be fine. All right. We're going to start with, so this particular class was all about coloring with stencils. Okay, coloring with stencils. Now, this set does not come with stencils. We made our own stencils. So here we have a piece. I'm going to just kind of demonstrate. You need those two pieces. And these ones are not stamped, but that's okay. All right, let me get my bearings here. What you're going to need for this is a couple sticky notes. These are full back sticky notes, okay? Full back. I need my L-shaped pieces that I had made for this. It's getting hot up here. Okay, but I can make more. It's fine. All right, we are going to take, and first I'm going to stamp and color this, and I'm going to show you how I did that, okay? So this is a full back sticky note, like I said, and I'm going to take off my coffee piece, and I'm going to take off that piece there. And let me grab something. Oh, I need more acrylic blocks. All right, those are my acrylic blocks. And since I don't know where my stencil pieces are right this second, I'm going to use this. This is a stencil plastic that I got on Temu, Amazon. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp those. We're going to use Memento ink. We're going to stamp this. And I'm going to stamp it again. I don't need it to be dark because I'm just cutting these out. These are masks. All right, so there we go. So when you are creating a mask, now this technique is specifically for those who hate coloring, okay? But ink blending is a little bit easier. So I'm going to take, now it's very important for you not to chop up your sticky note, okay? So I'm going to go in just from one side, one slit, because when I put the sticky note down, it will stick back together. And on the line, I am going to cut the bottom of the cup out only. Okay. That's it. And I'm going to set it right there. Okay. Now I'm going to cut the top of the cup out only. Notice I did not just chop off the sticky note. I want to limit the number of cuts I have going to the outside of the paper. Now on this coffee cup, I'm only going to cut out the middle of the cup because this cup is 3 pieces or 3 sections, okay? And this is why I said it didn't matter how dark it was. I could still see the line, and I'm going to cut that out just like so, okay? And then there's the middle of my cup. Here we are. Okay, now I'm going to take this sticky note, cut in one line, and I am going to fussy cut on the lines around this whipped topping. Now, if you treat your masks well, you can save them. You don't have to do this more than once unless you use them up where they're not sticky anymore. But if you're only going to make a card or two, you can stick these masks in with your stamp set, and they will be ready for the next time that you are going to make this card or use the stamp set. Okay, so there are my masks. So my positive and my negative spaces. Now, let me grab my sticky mat again, because we know I love my sticky mat. Carefully peel that up. I'm going to line that up just like that. Now, I see that I can see through here. I want to protect that, and you can just use like a regular sticky note for that. You don't have to use the nice full back ones. Okay, so this is just a regular sticky at the top only. I'm only going to stick it right there. Okay, just like that. Now I am going to, let me look at my card and see what color. Okay, so here's the card. So I am going to use Summer Splash. I'm going to have to bring down all of my brushes now because this is going to use a lot of brushes. Summer Splash. There we are. Let's use this one. Okay, so I'm going to start on my sticky note, and I'm just going to blend down into the open area. Now you have complete control over how light or how dark it is. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to peel that up, and I'm going to peel this up carefully, not to tear my mask. And there we go. Now I can do the other cup, and it's going to cover the center of the coffee cup. Just like that. I'm going to close this, and I am going to grab crumb cake. Here is my crumb cake ink pad. I'm going to set that up here so I can see it and have more space, because we are making a mess today. All right, crumb cake. I am just going to block that off and just do a light. And I want a little darker on one side. Okay, give it a little shadow there. Now, like I said, these can be saved, so I'm going to set that there. And there is my coffee cup. Now I'm going to take my whipped topping, and we're just going to have the same crumb cake. Just give it a little residual ink. It doesn't need a lot, just because, you know, it's supposed to be white. We just added a little crumb cake for shadow. All right, so this card, the elements for this card are just about done. I put a pumpkin on the front, but because the pumpkin was so small, I colored it with pumpkin pie ink. No shadow, nothing, just cut it out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to just kind of cut around because I need these things to fit. Also, with this particular one, I also used this cinnamon stick. I'm going to grab copper clay and 2 lines down to color the cinnamon stick. That's it. All right, now I'm going to die cut all of these pieces out. Okay, we'll come back to the blending because we have a lot more blending to do here. Okay, we're going to stick that there. I'm going to grab my small die cut machine. And I'm going to grab my coffee cup die, my whipped topping die, my cinnamon stick, and my pumpkin. There we are. Need all 4 of those dies for this card. All right. 2 plates that are over here. Piece of Scotch tape. All right, first we're going to cut out our coffee cup and our whipped topping. There we go, taped in place. I have a little magnetic tray here. Throw my dies in so they don't get lost. Now I'm going to run this one through. I'm going to tape my pumpkin down. And my cinnamon stick. So there is my pumpkin and my cinnamon stick. Just stick my tape on the side because I will be die cutting more. We'll set these pieces right here. Just like that. Okay. Now let's look at my card. All right. You need to die cut. Nothing's better than and my pumpkin spice. But I don't think I have any brown or orange paper. Let me go back. All right, here we have pumpkin pie, we have pecan pie, and we have white. We're gonna bring back the dies. And we're gonna grab the die that says nothing's better than. We have pumpkin spice and pumpkin spice. I do have a leaf die, but I already have some leaves cut and they're just like right here. So I'm just gonna use those. All right. So we're going to trim these down. Pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice. And then there's nothing better than. Now there's nothing better than to be a little thicker. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. I am going to take some score tape here. You know, this is almost as wide if you don't have thicker score tape. You'll just have to do like 2 rows instead of 1. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to take burnish the back so it's good and stuck down. And I'm going to take the backs off. Take the back off of this one. Maybe. There we go. Now I'm going to fold this on itself. Okay. There we go. Take my bone folder. Give it a good press. Now it's double thick, so it will be a little bit thicker, and my die will be just fine doing that one. So let me grab this one again. I don't have to tape it down because there's not an image, as long as it just stays on the cardstock. And because I went through 2 layers, I'm going to go right back through. I'm going to try one more time. It doesn't look like it quite went through that back layer. There we go. So it just needs a little bit of help here around the A and the S, and there we go. Perfect. Okay, there's nothing better than. Done with that one. Now we have pumpkin spice in white and in orange. So we're going to die cut that twice. I can take my piercing poker and poke the word out. Carefully remove it. And spice. I do appreciate that the little dot on the eye is attached. It's like a little bubble there, but you don't have to try and keep the little tittle safe. Okay, we're gonna die cut pumpkin, spice out a pumpkin pie orange. Okay. There we go. There's that one. All right, I think we are all done die cutting on that for this card. Okay, nothing's better than pumpkin spice. Let me go ahead and grab my cardstock here. I'm going to have to cut it out. I want to make sure it is the right size. So we're going to make sure it is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and it is. Nice. Now I'm going to grab my sticky mat, and I'm going to grab my pumpkin pie ink. And I am going to ink blend just around the edges. Give it more of a fall feel. All right, there we go. I like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to decorate the front of this card. So we have a piece like this and a piece like this. We're going to go ahead and glue those down. And then we'll trim off the excess. What did I do with my silicone mat? It is no wonder that I can never find my stuff on my table because I am a mess. I am not a clean crafter. As much as I would like to be, that is just not who I am. Would you believe that I have no idea where that silicone mat went? So we're just going to glue down and wipe up the glue if we get it on the table. All right, there we go. Then I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to glue it down. There we go. And I'm going to trim off the edges just like that. Make sure there's nothing hanging off this edge. Perfect. Now I have my ribbon, and this is copper clay. Isn't it so pretty? So I'm going to trim it that much, and then I'm going to tie a separate bow. Just like that. Boy, I sure made that one look easy, didn't I? Okay, that's all the ribbon I need for that. Okay, so here's how I adhere the ribbon. So I'm going to take my tear and tape, and I need 2 pieces. Okay, just like that. I'm going to stick the ribbon to this side, and I'm going to stick the ribbon to this side. Then I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to figure out right where I want it, and I'm going to wrap it around the edge and stick it down. Then I'm going to rotate it, put it where I want it, and stick it down. And now it's in perfect placement. Okay. I'm going to put my glue dot. Put my bow on with a glue dot. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and we're gonna figure out where the rest of this is gonna go. I had to poke out my inside of my B's and my R and my A. Okay, so before we put glue on this, I like, look at this, I have scissors to use my tweezers that I can't find, so it's a good thing I have another pair. We're going to hold this with our tweezers so it looks like that. I'm going to flip it over. Make sure those insides do not go back in that we just took out. The R does not want to come out. There we go. All right, so I'm just doing little dots of glue. And then I'm going to just tap it on my hand to get any oozy stuff. And I'm going to say nothing's better than, straighten that out. And then I'm going to just put pumpkin spice down in white. Okay, and then I'll put the orange right on the top. So pumpkin spice. And I'm doing the letters first because I need to make sure that I have room for all of the things, okay? Okay, now we're going to put the orange on. I'm going to offset it just a little. And there we go. See? Now I'm going to do my spice. Pop out my insides of my letters. There we go. Now I have some leaves. I'm just going to glue one down. And then the outline of one. There we go. Put a little glue at the top of my cup. So my foam will cover it. Now I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm just going to make a slit so that I can stick my cinnamon stick in the hole. There we go. I'm going to stick a little bit of glue behind the cinnamon stick, angle it how I want, and press it down. And then a little drop of glue for my pumpkin that goes in the center. Perfect. Now I'm going to take some dimensionals. We'll use these black ones. Oh, sorry about that. The dogs must see something outside. And there we go. All right, so we're going to take this as my card base. Xena, stop. Cut off a big piece of foam tape. And I am going to cover the back of this card. One more piece of foam tape. Okay. And I see I'm looking at my original card, and I have to still add my bling. And I stamped a little "and you" that I need to add to it. All right, so there we go. All right, so let me see. Here's my stamp set. We are going to do "and you." And so I'm missing some words because I cut my stamp, and so it looks like I'm missing "are the" somewhere. So you and the "and" sign. Xena, stop. I'm just going to stamp it right here. Oh my goodness, the dogs are crazy. Right there. I'm going to cut up from the bottom, straight, and there we go. Perfect. Oh, there were the tweezers. Do that right there. Xena, stop. Please. These are the adhesive back sparkle gems. And I'm using like the coppery gold color. 3 of them, and that is it. And of course you can decorate the inside if you would like. I did not. So there we go. There's our first card. The next card is where I needed that stencil material. And I do have one mask made already here. But I'll have to make masks for this, and the pumpkin, or the donut here in a minute. So let me go ahead and set this stuff aside. I'm going to set that right there. Grab my cutter. And I'm going to take my stencil material. And I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. Oh, let's do 4 inches the long way. Okay. And I'm doing it out of stencil material because then I can use it again and again and again. And then I'm going to do 4 inches. So I'm going to start with 2 4-inch squares. Okay. I just really don't have any idea what I did with these I had made before, and I made a bunch before. You know what? I'll find them when I'm not looking for them. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to measure to the 1-inch side, and I only want a 1-inch border, and I'm going to cut from on the 1 inch down to 3. Okay, and I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to line it up with the 1 inch again, and I'm going to go up to the 1 and just cut that corner out. Okay, just like that. And you could use this like with masking paper or just some computer paper, but you only need the L. I'll save this for something else. Okay, now I'm going to do it one more time. Since I'm cutting from the bottom, I'll go up to the 1. Okay, and then I'll rotate, go to the top, and come down to the 3. Okay, there we go. So these little squares I'll save for another project. And I have my 2 pieces of stencil material. All right, so with these, and you know, maybe I stuck these postage stamps. All right, so here is the first postage stamp. I want to stamp my coffee cup. Now, on my original card, I only did the coffee cup, but I think in the last class that I taught, we actually made it with whipped topping. So I didn't stamp the whole cup. I stamped it off a little bit, and that's fine. And that's why I left these on, because I knew I wanted to start here. And then I'm going to add the whipped topping. There we go. Just like that. Now, because I have all of my negatives here and my other stencils, where are they at? Down here. Okay. We're going to ink blend and color our cup and our whipped topping. So here's my whipped topping stencil. I am going to line up the edge. Perfect. Just like that. And with that same ink brush, I'm not going to add any more ink to it. I'm just going to call it good. Okay. Just to add a little bit of color. Now I'm going to take that and set this right here, because I'm going to have to cut another stencil out of there. But because I've done that, now I can take my negative space of my whipped topping and I'm going to cover it up. Now I have to do the coffee cup. So we're going to start with this part of the coffee cup. And I'm going to have to get more ink for that. Give it a good rub in the ink. There we go. I forgot to cover this, so I'm hoping that my background ink will cover that up. We'll make it work. It will be fine. Okay. Now I'm going to do the negative space for this part of the coffee cup. And remember, we use crumb cake, so I'm going to grab my crumb cake ink. Cover this. Just like that. Here it is. Okay. Now I'm going to take all of my negative pieces that I cut out, these ones that I saved, and I'm going to put them right over. Looks like my crumb cake did not. Must not have had that lined up perfectly, so I'm going to redo that just before I get too carried away here. There we go. All fixed. Oh. We're gonna stick this on there. We're gonna stick this on the bottom. Give it a good push. This on the top. There we go. This does not want to stick down to the wet ink. Okay. I'm probably being impatient and not letting that ink dry because it does not want to stick. So we're going to just hold it for a second. And I can take this and just hold it down right there. Okay, that'll work. Now we're going to take pumpkin pie and real red and do both on this one. We're going to do a little blending. So here's my real red. Here's my pumpkin pie. Press that down. There's a little corner there I needed to get. All right. All right. I accidentally went into the red with the orange, so it didn't blend very well, but we'll do. We'll just trade up. It'll be fine. All right, so there. And I did it all wrong anyway. So we'll come back. We'll redo it because I have an extra one. Because I forgot the whole thing that I was going to show you. All right. The whole stencil, the whole reason that I had to cut these. So I am lining them up so they are covering the border of our postage stamp. That part was important, okay? So you can see how they're covering. And my sticky mat is holding my stencil down, okay? And since we messed up, it's even better that we're gonna redo this. Okay, so restamp. You know what, let's have fun with it. Let's put it all crazy. Okay. Okay, we're gonna stamp it just like that. Okay. So now let me see if I can just stick these down now without the ink, and then I can just do the background first. Because, you know, there is no real order. Like, you don't have to do them in a specific order. And these seem to be sticking better with no ink on them than they did with all the ink on them. So that'll work. Okay. Now we're going to try and get that blend. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's peel off all of these pieces. Again, we'll set them aside. And then we can either come back and ink blend these pieces. We'll take that off, and we'll take that off. peel that off. So here we are. How cute is that? And we have a nice ink blended background. Okay. So we are going to, I'm going to use red again. You know what? We're going to throw this piece away because we messed up on it, right? Okay. But I need to clean this before I do any more ink blending. So I'm just going to set this up here so it doesn't get water on it. Spray that with some water. You could also spray it with alcohol. Alcohol would clean it up nicely too. Okay. Here we are. Now, we also need to clean off our mat because, well, you know. All right, now I'm going to take my other big one, and it is all red. And it has a pumpkin in the middle. So remember I said we had to stamp the pumpkin in the center. So where is my stamp set? Here's my pumpkin. I'm going to stamp my pumpkin down here in the center. And I'm going to stamp my pumpkin over here on my full sticky back. Now, I will stamp the Hello Fall after it is ink blended, okay? Because it's just black ink. So we're going to carefully, and I'm going to carefully cut the pumpkin out. Now you don't have to worry about the stem because the stem is already black. So you just need the outside edge of the pumpkin, just like that. I'm going to put that right over the top. Bring in my two L-shaped pieces, and I'm going to give myself a nice border. Now, if you don't want to make your own stencils, I believe Gina K actually makes these stencils for you. And you could certainly buy them from her, but I had the stuff, so I just made my own. All right, now this one we're going to do all in red. All right, I like the way that looks. So that one I'm going to set also aside up here. And we're going to quickly clean off our stencil pieces again. Now the next two squares have already been stamped. I stamped the pumpkin or pumpkin pie and the donut. So all I have to do for the donut is make my stencil, and the pumpkin pie, make my stencils. Here is another sheet. Okay. My pumpkin pie and my donut. I'm going to do 2 donuts. and 1 pumpkin pie. Okay. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do this donut. And I already had it stamped, so I'm just going to line up my stencil with the edge of where I stamped because it was already done for me. And do my best to get a nice border there. All right, so we're going to take this donut. And we're going to set that back. All right, so this first donut, we're going to go all the way around the outside edge of it. Just like so. And then I need to cut the inside of this donut out because I want the outside and the inside of the donut to match. So I'm just going to give it a little fold, a little snip. You're going just around the inside of the donut the best you can. Now, if you don't have full back sticky notes, Stampin' Up! Does sell masking paper. All right, I'm going to save that piece because we will need that when we go to stamp. All right, so I'm going to set my donut. I'm going to match up this part of the frosting with this part of the frosting. And there we are. And I'm not going to add any ink to my pumpkin pie because I just want a light background. That's all I'm doing here is a light background. Okay. I'm going to save that. And now we're done with the background of the donut. Okay. I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to set that in my stack. Now I'm going to bring in my pumpkin pie. I'm going to line those up. This side up. And I'm going to take my crumb cake one, and I'm not going to re-ink it because I just want a light color in the, oh well. I did not cut out my mask, but that's light enough that the colors that I'm going to use are okay. Okay, so now we're going to give all that ink some time to dry. And I'm going to come back to my coffee cup. So here are my stamps. Here's my coffee cup. I'm going to glue that down. Now I'm going to take my masks, okay? And this one was the inside of my coffee cup, or the band. And I see that I have a little bit of an edge showing here. I want to make sure I don't get the green ink, the summer splash on it. Lightly blend it until it's the color I want. That's perfect. Now I'm going to move this one in. And I'm going to get my crumb cake out again because I want this to be a little bit darker crumb cake. And I'm just going to cover up the top. And that little white over here. There we are. go. I'm officially done with this mask. I'll put this one over the top. This, and I forgot my edge here on the bottom, so I'm going to have to fix that, but it'll be okay. There we go. All right, so the coffee cup's done, but I want to show you here. You see where I ink blended down in the bottom? I'm just going to take my white ink right there and my white ink on this side, and I'm going to let it dry, and I'll probably do a couple coats to kind of cover it up, and hopefully it'll be good enough. All right, so there's that one. All right, I have to put some stamps away because I am running out of stuff. Okay. Coffee cup. Zeus, stop. Xena, stop. Oh my goodness, I'm getting frustrated with dogs right now. I wonder what I could throw. Zeus, come here. Come here. Stop. Stop. You're okay. You're okay. All right. Stand away. Xena, Zeus, stop. Sit. Come here, sit. Stop. Oh, Jamie, breathe. Jamie, breathe. Jamie, breathe. Jamie wants to beat the crap out of her dogs. All right. Now we're going to do Hello Fall. So here is the hello. And the fall was in cursive. That says pie. Wow, I have lost the stamp that says fall. Oh, there it is. It's under my finger. So the only one that I still cannot find is the are the. All right. Set this aside. Hello. Fall. That looks pretty good. Pick it up with my block. And because I'm stamping on the ink, I am going to do my VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. Hello, Fall. I do not have any desire to ink blend that pumpkin, so we are just going to grab my pumpkin pie ink marker again, and we're just going to color it. There we go. Done. Okay, so that postage stamp is done. Now we have these two. So here is my pumpkin. The first thing I'm going to do, number one, I don't need the outside because I already ink blended the background, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to cut the whole pie part out. Just the pie, not the crust, okay? There we are. Now I can lay this right over the top with my little side panel here, okay? And with my orange, my pumpkin pie. Let me find my pumpkin pie ink. It's not in that stack. not there. I've lost the pumpkin pie ink. Oh, there it is. It's at the bottom. I didn't really lose it. All right. Now, if you wanted, I'm not going to do it, but if you wanted, you could take your pie piece, stick it over the top, cut out the crust, and then stick the negative over the top, and you could ink blend it with crumb cake. But I am not going to do that because I am going to save time, and I'm going to take dark pumpkin pie, and I'm just going to color my crust because it's much faster that way. Okay, and that wasn't sticking real well because obviously it is wet. I did not get all the way to the edge, so I'm just going to take my marker and add all right. Had to color it a little because I messed up. Okay, so that piece is finished. All right. So we'll set that up here with the other one. Last one I have to do is the donut. All right, so here is my donut hole. Remember I told you I wanted to save that. We're going to stick that here. Line that up in there best we can. Don't need my pumpkin pie anymore. I'm going to throw all my masks away. I do not need them. Okay. Now, here is this one. Here is where we cut out the pie or the piece, yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to line it up. That looks good. This is the outside. Okay. I've got the inside covered with my inside piece. So on your donut, you have the outside ridge. Okay, I'm going to do a light pink as my frosting color. So I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm just going to take my pecan pie marker again, and I'm just going to color over that actual donut. But I do want to mask where it was masked before. Just like that. And just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to take pink. Let's see if there's any pink left on here. I'm just going to take whatever residual pink ink is on my pink brush. Okay. And it's done. Okay. That's it. Now I can take all of this off. Take my mask off. I'm going to grab my pecan pie donut. I'm just going to trace the brown donut stuff around the edges. And there you go. That's it. The donut is done. Okay. That part was the hard part. Like, that is what took the majority of the time. Now, the assembly of this card is super easy. Let me just grab a card base. Here we are. We are done with the red ink and the summer splash and orange. And I am not going to keep any of my masks because they're sticking everywhere. Here are my 3 or my 4 stamps. The only color I think I'm going to need, I think I'm going to grab Pecan Pie ink. To give my background a little bit of color. Okay, not crumpy. I'm going to stick that over here. It's out of the way. Now, because I have ink everywhere, let's go ahead and bring our sticky mat back in. I'm going to make sure it's clean before I stick my white card base on it. You don't want any of that residual ink getting on the inside of your card base. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stick, this is the front of my card. I just stick it onto my sticky mat. And now, if I lay out my pieces, I kind of see, you know, where I need the ink. I'm going to do the center, but I don't want to do all the way to the edges. So I have to get pretty close to the edges, but not quite all the way. And it doesn't have to be perfect blending. So I'm going to just take my okay, see, not perfect at all. Now I'm going to take an acrylic block. There you go. Remove these pieces because I don't want to splatter them. All right. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to spray some water on my brush, okay, because I want my brush wet. So I just sprayed it on my glass mat here. Got my brush all wet. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to spray some water, just a couple squirts of water there. And I'm just going to splatter it. And that's it. Wipe off my brush. I'm going to clean my brush real quick. Give that a second to dry. Just right like that until it comes clean. And it's done. And we are done with our mat. Oh, here's all the mats I made from the first time I made this card. Okay, so now we are ready to finish our card. So that there, here, here. These pieces are all ready to go into the scrap bin. Okay, so stamps. First, I'm going to grab my foam tape. We're almost out of this roll, so we're just going to use it. We're going to flip over all 4 of those and let this continue to dry. I might hit it with a heat tool here to help it dry. But we'll give it another minute or 2 while we finish up this card. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, All right. Now I'm going to lay these back out how I want them. And then peel off the sticky one at a time. Oh, almost did that one upside down. There we go. There we are. I'm going to take my white gel pen. I see a little bit of black ink right there. I'm going to cover it up. And here I wanted to add another layer of the white ink there. And there you are. That is the second card. So I'll go ahead and stamp my back. And that is 2 months worth of cards. There's the original. I think on the original I actually colored everything instead of ink blended everything. So you can do either or. Just depends on whether or not you like to color or not. So it was good to see everybody, and I will be back next month. Have a great day.